You ever wonder why people say, just have faith? It's a cute little phrase, isn't it? Like you can just hold on to some invisible thread, trust that it's all gonna work out. But here's the thing. Faith isn't some comforting illusion. It's not some fairy tale that makes everything magically better. No, no, no. Faith is real, but not in the way you think. You ever notice how people love to talk about faith like it's some fluffy little thing you hold on to when you're weak? Like it's a crutch that you lean on to get through the rough patches. Everyone's got their own version of faith, right? A little dose of hope they sprinkle on top of their life when things aren't going their way. But here's the thing, and it's the one thing people don't like to admit. Faith isn't a crutch, not at all. Faith is a strength, a power that doesn't hold you up, but pushes you forward. It doesn't coddle you. It doesn't wrap you up in some comforting bubble. No, faith is the thing that gets you out of bed when the world tells you to stay down, when the weight of everything is pressing against you like 1,000 tons of bricks. Faith isn't just for the broken. It's for the fighters, the ones who still have enough fight left in them to take one more step, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. People have this idea that if you have faith, everything is going to work out. They think it's some magical fairy tale thing that erases all the struggles, the pain, the mess. They're wrong. Faith doesn't erase anything. It doesn't fix the broken pieces. It doesn't take away the hurt, the fear, the doubts. It doesn't make everything shiny and perfect. It just gives you the strength to keep moving, even when nothing is perfect. You see, it's not about being weak enough to need faith. It's about being strong enough to have it when you feel like you can't go another step. It's easy to have faith when everything's good, when the sun is shining and your life is a straight line up. But when the storm hits, when the walls are closing in, that's when faith really shows what it's made of. It doesn't hold you back, it pushes you forward. It forces you to keep going when all you want to do is crawl into a corner and pretend like nothing matters anymore. Faith is the thing that whispers in your ear when the world is screaming at you to quit. When everything is dark and silent, when you've reached the point where you don't even know how to make it through another day, faith is the thing that tells you there's still a chance. You might not be able to see it. Hell, you might not even believe it. But faith makes you keep walking, even when the road is full of rocks and thorns and sharp turns that you don't know how to navigate. It's the thing that makes you take the first step when you're paralyzed with fear. It doesn't give you the answers, it doesn't promise a happy ending, but it gives you the strength to take that one step forward, even if you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side. And that's where people get it wrong. Faith doesn't show up with a silver spoon. It doesn't solve all your problems. It doesn't make you the hero of your own story. But what it does, what it really does, is give you the strength to keep fighting, even when it feels like the world is against you. You don't get through life by sitting around and waiting for things to get better. You get through it by standing up, even when the ground feels like it's crumbling beneath you. And that's what faith does. It gives you the power to get up and keep moving. It pushes you to take that one more step when you feel like you've already given everything. When everyone tells you you're done, that it's over, faith is the one voice that says, not yet. It doesn't keep you from falling down, but it does keep you from staying down. It doesn't promise that you won't get hurt, that you won't struggle, but it gives you the strength to face the fight, to keep going even when you don't feel like it's worth it. It's the strength to keep trying when everything inside you is screaming for you to quit. Faith isn't some soft thing that holds you in place and keeps you safe. It's a force that drives you forward, a force that makes you stand up after you've been knocked down. It's the thing that gets you through the hardest days, the longest nights, and the moments when everything feels impossible. Because here's the truth. Faith is not for the weak. It's for the ones who are willing to keep going, no matter what. It's for the ones who know that nothing comes easy, that life will throw punches, that things will get messy. It's not about leaning on something because you can't handle it yourself, no. It's about realizing that even when it feels like everything is against you, you can still find the strength to move forward. And that's where the real power of faith lies. It doesn't protect you from the pain, but it gives you the courage to stand in the face of it, to face the unknown with the belief that you have the power to overcome. So no, faith is not a crutch. It's the strength that pushes you forward when the world is pushing you back. It's the thing that keeps you alive, keeps you moving, keeps you fighting. And when you have it, you don't need anything else. It's funny, you know? Everyone thinks faith is something you just hold on to when you're sitting in the dark, waiting for something to change. People think faith is just about hoping, praying, wishing for a better tomorrow, as if it's some magic trick that's supposed to fix everything, to make everything better just like that. But that's not what it is. No, faith isn't just about sitting and waiting. It's about action. It's about moving. You don't wait for miracles to fall from the sky. You get up, you take the steps, you keep moving even when every part of you screams for you to stop, to quit, to just lay down and give up. That's the real power of faith. It doesn't make things easier, it doesn't hand you the answers or the solutions, but it gives you the guts to move forward when nothing else will. When you've been knocked down so many times you've lost count, when every path you've tried to take has led you to a dead end, and you've watched everyone around you move on while you're stuck in place, faith is what keeps you going. It's that flicker inside that refuses to let you just throw in the towel, to wave the white flag. It's that quiet voice telling you, just one more step, just one more try. Just keep going even when it doesn't make sense. And that's the thing most people don't get. Faith isn't about sitting around and waiting for things to magically get better. It's about finding the strength to move when you feel like you're stuck in quicksand. It's about taking that first step, even if you're scared to death, even if you have no idea where you're going or what you're doing. It's not about knowing the destination, it's about trusting that each step gets you closer to something better, even if you can't see it yet. Here's the kicker though. Most people give up before they see it. They get tired, they get frustrated, they start to think it's all pointless and they bail out. They throw their hands up and say, I've tried everything, nothing's working, what's the point? And that's where faith makes the difference. The difference between the people who keep moving forward and the ones who stay stuck. Faith tells you that the road might be long, might be hard, might be full of obstacles and struggles, but it's worth it. Even when the result isn't guaranteed, even when you can't see how it all fits together, faith keeps you in motion. It tells you that as long as you're moving, as long as you're trying, as long as you're pushing forward, something is happening. Something is changing. Even if it's just you, even if it's just your mindset, even if it's just your own strength, growing with every step you take. People think faith means you sit back and wait for something to happen. They think it's passive, like you just stand there and pray for everything to fix itself. But faith isn't passive. It's the opposite. Faith is about moving through the hard stuff, taking that next step when you don't know what's ahead. Trusting that the effort, the grind, the struggle is what's going to make a difference. It's about doing the work, no matter how ugly, no matter how difficult, no matter how much you doubt yourself. It's about trusting that even when it feels like you're not making any progress, even when you feel like you're just spinning your wheels, something is happening underneath the surface. You're changing, you're growing, you're becoming something stronger than you were before. And that's where the real power of faith lies, not in the easy moments, not when everything is going smoothly, not when the path is clear and the sun is shining. Faith shows its true power when everything is dark, when every step feels like you're walking through mud, when the world is telling you it's over and you should just quit. Faith doesn't disappear when things get tough. It's the thing that keeps you in motion, keeps you fighting, keeps you putting one foot in front of the other, even when you can't see the finish line. It's the belief that somehow, some way, the effort you're putting in, the steps you're taking, will eventually pay off. And maybe you won't see the results today. Maybe you won't see them tomorrow. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep moving, keep trusting, keep having faith that the little things you do every day, the steps you take when you don't feel like it, are slowly but surely getting you closer to where you need to be. Most people look for shortcuts. They look for the easy way out. They look for the miracle that's going to fix it all. But faith doesn't work that way. It's not about shortcuts. It's not about easy fixes. Faith is about the long haul. It's about taking the time to move, to struggle, to grow through the tough moments. It's about accepting the challenge of not knowing what's next, of not having all the answers, but still trusting that the next step is worth taking, because in the end, faith doesn't change the road. It doesn't make the path smoother. What it does, though, is change you. It makes you stronger, more resilient, more determined to keep moving forward, even when it doesn't make sense. And the more messy the road, the more seemingly gets scattered, losing faith in yourself. And that's where real change happens. That's where real growth happens. And that's what faith is really all about. You ever notice how when everything crumbles around you, the first thing people do is look for someone to blame? It's like they're trying to find a way out, a way to escape the chaos, so they point fingers at everyone else. But here's the thing, blaming the world, blaming your circumstances, blaming the people who aren't doing what you want them to do, it doesn't change a damn thing. It doesn't fix the mess you're in. It doesn't make the pain go away. All it does is keep you stuck in the same place, trapped in a loop where you're just running around in circles, blaming this, blaming that, never actually moving forward. And that's what's so funny about it. People think they can blame others for their pain, for their struggles, for everything that's wrong with their lives. But in reality, the only thing that really matters, the only thing that can change anything, is how you choose to react. It's how you choose to take responsibility for what's happening in your life. You see, the moment you realize that your life isn't about what everyone else is doing, it's about what you choose to do with it, everything changes. The moment you stop pointing fingers, stop blaming, stop looking for someone to fix everything for you, you realize something that's both terrifying and liberating at the same time. For you to be not a victim, you realize everything is not about you. You realize that the power is in your hands, the power to change the situation, the power to choose how you feel about it, the power to choose whether or not you're going to let it break you. Because let's face it, life's not going to hand you anything. No one's going to come in and wave a magic wand to make everything right. That's not how it works. You're on your own in this. You're the one who has to make the choice to rise, to keep going, to stand back up when you've been knocked down. And that is the part most people don't want to hear. They want the world to change. They want other people to change, but they don't want to accept the fact that the real change starts with them. It's so much easier to point at the world and say, look at all the things that went wrong. Look at all the people who screwed me over. Look at everything that happened to me. But none of that fixes anything. It doesn't fix your life. It doesn't fix your pain. It doesn't make you stronger. It just keeps you stuck in this victim mentality where you're always looking outside yourself for the answers, for the reasons why you're not getting what you want, for the reasons why things aren't working out. And the funny thing? The world doesn't care about your excuses. No one cares about your sob story. No one cares about your self-story. People get tired of hearing it. They get tired of hearing you point fingers and blame everyone else for the mess you're in. And you know what? You get tired of it too, deep down. It feels good to blame everyone else, sure, but when you really stop and think about it, you know it doesn't change anything. It doesn't move you forward. It just keeps you stuck. When you finally accept that the change has to come from you, that's when things start to shift. That's when you stop looking outside yourself for the reasons why things aren't working, and you start looking inside. You start to realize that the real battle is within. The real challenge is deciding to take control of your life, to take responsibility for what you can change, for what you can control. And let me tell you, that's not easy. It's not easy to look in the mirror and admit that you're the one who's been holding yourself back. It's not easy to look at the mess and realize that you're the one who's going to have to clean it up. But once you do, once you face that truth, everything changes. You stop being a victim. You stop being passive in your own life, letting everything happen to you. You start taking the reins. The moment you take responsibility for your own life, for your own choices, for your own actions, you step into your power. It's not some magical transformation where everything suddenly falls into place. It's not about waving a magic wand and making everything perfect, no. It's about the realization that you are the one who controls your next move, that you are the one who gets to decide what happens next. When you stop blaming the world, when you stop blaming other people for your pain and your struggles, you start taking control of the situation. And that's when you start making real progress. That's when you start seeing real change, real growth. You can't change the past. You can't go back and undo the things that happened to you, but you can change how you respond to it. You can change how you move forward. And that, my friend, is where the power lies. The power is in your hands, always has been, always will be. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stop looking at the world and everyone else for the answers, you finally realize that the one person who can change everything is staring back at you in the mirror. Oh, how people love to pretend they have it all figured out, don't they? They love to act like they know exactly what's going to happen next, like they've got the whole future mapped out, as if there's some master plan that's going to fall into place. And when it doesn't go the way they expected, when things go wrong, When life throws them a curveball, what do? They freak out. They get scared. They panic. They try to scramble and fix it. But here's the thing, life doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care about your expectations. Life doesn't follow any rules, doesn't give you any guarantees. It throws chaos at you. It throws curveballs. It throws things you didn't see coming. And the truth is, most people just can't handle it. They think they can control everything. They think they can plan everything, and then life comes along and slaps them in the face, shattering every single illusion they had about what was supposed to happen. And you know what? That's where the real test starts. That's when things get interesting. Because it's not about how well you plan, it's about how well you can adapt to the unexpected. Most people are so obsessed with controlling everything, with making sure they can predict the future, that they forget that real growth happens when you let go of that control. It happens when you stop trying to force everything into place and instead learn to move with it, to dance with the chaos. The beauty of life isn't in trying to hold everything together, trying to predict every twist and turn, trying to have it all figured out. We live in moments. The beauty is in the mess, the unpredictability, the chaos. That's where the magic happens. But most people, they just can't stand it. They panic, they freak out, they lose their minds when things go wrong, when things don't go according to plan. And that, my friend, is where they fail. They fail because they don't understand one simple thing. Life doesn't give you the luxury of planning every detail, of knowing what's coming next. Life gives you the opportunity to adapt, to roll with the punches, to make something of whatever comes your way. You can't control the future. You can't control what happens next. You can't even control what people think of you, or how they act, or what they say behind your back. All you can control is how you respond, and that's what separates the people who survive from the people who crumble. That's what separates the ones who grow from the ones who stay stuck. Because here's the hard truth that most people won't admit. They're afraid of not being in control. They're afraid of losing that grip, of stepping into the unknown, of not having a clue where things are headed. But the real power, the real strength, comes from letting go of that fear, of embracing the uncertainty. It's about accepting that the world doesn't owe you anything, that nothing is guaranteed. It's about embracing the fact that you have no idea what's coming next, and that's okay. Because when you let go of that constant need to control, when you stop trying to force everything into your neat little box of what you think should happen, that's when you can truly live. The people who stay stuck, the ones who can't handle the chaos, they're the ones who are terrified of not knowing what's next. They're the ones who spend their entire lives trying to control everything, trying to make it all perfect, trying to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. But here's the secret. Nothing is perfect. Nothing ever will be. And when you stop trying to make it perfect, when you stop trying to control every little thing, that's when you start to find peace. That's when you start to realize that you don't need to know what's coming next to be okay. You just need to trust yourself enough to handle it. And that, my friend, is where true freedom lies. It's funny how the more people try to control, the more they end up losing control. They push and push, they strain and stress, and what do they get for it? A life that's rigid, predictable, and ultimately boring. The more you try to control, the more you shut out the chance for real growth. for real change, for real excitement. The world isn't here to cater to your plans, to fit into the box you've created for it. It's here to show you that you're capable of handling more than you think. The real question is, are you brave enough to accept the chaos, to accept the mess, to accept the unknown? Because when you do, when you finally let go of your need to control everything, that's when you start to live. That's when you stop being a puppet, a slave to your own expectations, and start being the person who can face whatever comes your way. Life isn't about trying to make everything perfect. It's about embracing the imperfections, the unpredictability, and realizing that no matter what happens, you have everything you need to face it. And that's where the real power lies. In letting go, in trusting yourself, in moving forward without knowing exactly where you're going. Because once you stop fighting against the flow, once you stop trying to control the outcome, you realize that the journey itself is what matters. That's where the real magic happens. Isn't it funny how people get so caught up in trying to be something they're not? They look around, see what everyone else is doing, and they think, that's the life I want. That's what I need to be happy. That's what I need to succeed. So they chase after it. They try to fit into someone else's box, wear someone else's mask, be someone they're not. They'll wear the right clothes, they'll say the right things, they'll smile at the right times, all to fit in, all to be accepted. And for what? For approval, for some sense of validation that doesn't mean a damn thing? It's all just a distraction, a lie, a trap. They spend their lives chasing something that's not even real. Because in the end, the only person you need to be, the only person you should ever care about being, is yourself. But that's the thing, isn't it? People are scared of who they really are. They're scared to show their true colors, to be their authentic selves, because they think the world won't accept them. They think that if they let the world see the real them, the messy, broken, imperfect version, they won't fit in. They think they'll be rejected, laughed at, shoved aside, so they hide behind masks. They pretend. They play the game. They try to be everything they're not, and in doing so, they lose themselves. They lose that raw, real part of them that makes them unique, that makes them stand out. They trade it all for a fleeting moment of acceptance, a shallow sense of belonging, a cheap thrill that fades away the second they realize they still feel empty inside. You know what I find most ironic? People waste so much time trying to be what they think everyone else wants them to be. They forget that the only thing that's truly valuable is being authentic. They waste their lives trying to be perfect in everyone else's eyes, and then they wonder why they're miserable. They wonder why they're always running around in circles, always chasing something, always feeling like they're missing something. It's because they're not being real. They're not being themselves. They're too busy trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them in the first place. They're trying to play a role, follow a script that isn't theirs. And when they're finally alone, when the lights go down, when they're staring at themselves in the mirror, they don't even recognize the person looking back at them. But here's the twist. Being real, being yourself, isn't easy. Hell, it's terrifying. Because when you take off that mask, when you drop the act, and show the world who you really are, there's no guarantee they'll like you. There's no guarantee they'll accept you. In fact, there's a good chance they won't. The world isn't kind to people who don't fit in, to people who don't play the game. It's a cold, harsh reality, and most people would rather stick with the comfort of pretending than risk being rejected for who they really are. But here's the secret, the thing most people don't realize. Who the hell cares? Who cares if they don't like you? Who cares if they don't approve of your choices, your personality, your flaws? At the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with yourself. You're the one who has to look in the mirror and see that person staring back at you. And if that person is a stranger, if that person is a version of you that you don't even recognize, then what the hell was all this for? The truth is, you're never gonna feel truly alive until you stop hiding. You're never going to feel fulfilled until you take off that mask and start being the person you were always meant to be. Because here's the punchline. You're not here to be like everyone else. You're not here to fit into some preconceived notion of what you should be. You're here to be you. That's the joke no one gets. They waste their lives trying to be everyone else, trying to copy what's popular, trying to imitate success, and they miss the point. They miss the real truth. The truth is, you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to be accepted by the masses. You don't need to pretend to be something you're not just to get by. You just need to show up as yourself, all messy and imperfect, all real and raw, and trust that there's power in that. Trust that there's strength in being unapologetically yourself, even if the world tries to tear you down for it. Here's the catch. The more you try to fit in, the more you lose yourself. The more you hide behind the mask, the more you forget who you really are. And the funny thing, the people who are truly successful, the ones who make a real impact, the ones who change the world, they're not the ones who fit in. They're the ones who stand out. They're the ones who said, screw it. I'm gonna be me no matter what. I'm gonna embrace my flaws, my quirks, my flaws and all. And that's where the magic happens. That's where the real freedom comes from. So go ahead, take off that mask, drop the act, and just be yourself. You might get rejected, you might get laughed at, but who cares? At least you'll be living your life, not someone else's. You'll be free, and that, my friend, is worth everything. You ever wonder why people are so obsessed with pretending to be okay? It's like there's this unspoken rule, this invisible pressure that you have to wear this mask, this smile, even when everything inside is falling apart. You're supposed to act like everything is fine, like you've got it all together, like you're some perfectly polished version of your... It's all just a game, a performance, a lie that we're all playing. People spend their whole lives trying to convince everyone around them that they're doing fine, that they're happy, that they've got everything figured out, and they forget the most important thing. They forget to be honest. They forget to acknowledge the chaos, the mess, the pain, the real parts of themselves that don't fit into this picture perfect narrative they're trying to sell. Here's the thing, though. You can only wear that mask for so long before it starts to suffocate you. You can only keep pretending to be someone you're not before you lose track of who you really are. People look around, see everyone else pretending, and they think, well, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. I guess that's the only way to fit in. So they look up one day, and they say, so they put on the mask, they go through the motions, they fake their way through the day, and they get so caught up in the act that they forget how to breathe, how to feel, how to just be. They forget that being human isn't about looking perfect on the outside. It's about embracing the mess, the imperfections, the things that make us real. And what's so funny about it, the more people try to pretend the things that make us real. And what's so funny about it, the more people try to pretend, the more they make themselves miserable. The more they try to fit into a mold that isn't theirs, the more they lose themselves. It's like this never-ending loop of self-deception, and the worst part? They think they're fooling everyone. But really, the only person they're fooling is themselves. You can see it, can't you? The way people walk around with this fake smile plastered on their face, the way they dress a certain way, speak a certain way, like they're living up to some standard that they never agreed to. They're not living their truth. They're living someone else's version of their life, and that's where they miss it. They miss the point that the only way to feel truly alive is to stop pretending. Here's the cruel reality: the more you try to fit in, the more you try to hide your real self. The standard you think you've hid represents who you really are, and the more you start to feel disconnected from everything and everyone around you, people don't connect with the version of you that you're trying to sell, they connect with the real you. The raw, messy, broken, flawed version. The one that doesn't have all the answers. The one that doesn't know exactly how it's all going to turn out. But you can't connect with anyone if you're too busy hiding behind this mask of perfection. You can't build real relationships, real bonds, if you're not being real with yourself, if you're too scared to show the world who you really are. Because here's the kicker: we're all messed up in some way. We all have our scars, our bruises, our broken pieces. No one is perfect, no matter how much they try to make you believe they are. So why bother pretending? Why pretend to be something you're not, when the only thing you need to be is you? It's funny, right? The more people try to get it all together, it's the more they lose it. They think they need to have all the answers, to have everything in its perfect place, but the truth is, there's no such thing. Life is chaos, and that's the beauty of it. The real secret? Embrace the chaos, embrace the uncertainty, embrace the mess. There is you, because in that mess, there's power, there's strength, there's authenticity. And that's what the world needs, not some perfect, polished version of yourself that you're trying to sell. No, the world needs the real deal. It needs the version of you that's not afraid to be vulnerable, to be imperfect, to be human. You ever notice how people are drawn to those who aren't afraid to show their flaws? It's because that's where the real magic is. When you're willing to show up as yourself, without pretending, without hiding behind some facade. People respect that. They see the courage in it. They see the freedom in it. And that's what people crave. They crave realness, they crave authenticity, and yet most people would rather fake it, would rather pretend than risk being vulnerable. They'd rather stay in their comfort zone, hidden behind that mask, than let the world see them for who they truly are. But let me tell you something. If you keep hiding, if you keep pretending, you're never going to experience the real freedom that comes with being yourself. You're never going to feel truly alive. It's easy to hide. It's easy to put on a mask and pretend everything's fine. It's easy to conform to the expectations of others, to fit into whatever box society has built for you. But it's also the easiest way to destroy yourself. Because when you're not being yourself, when you're not living your truth, you're living a lie. And lies eat away at you. They eat at your soul, at your spirit. They drain you slowly but surely until you're nothing more than a hollow shell of the person you could have been. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to keep hiding. You can take off that mask. You can show the world who you really are. And if they don't like it, too bad. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that you're being true to yourself. And trust me, that's enough.